Welcome to Coffee Notes. Today I want to unpick why New Zealand is shutting the door on an era and ending funding for the planning of open plan classrooms. So for over a decade there's been a particular style of teaching space that certainly dominated New Zealand's school property landscape, the open plan or modern learning environment. And the vision, sometimes characterized in very utopian terms, was of a flexible collaborative space with no walls where students could move freely and work in groups. The concept of mirroring the agile workplaces of the 21st century. So some designs were intelligent and beautifully crafted, others ill-informed and ill-considered. So now the experiment is officially over. Experiment is the term that the government is using, at least for publicly funded projects. So Education Minister here in New Zealand, Erica Stanford, has announced that the government will no longer build these open plan classrooms. The decision, she says, is a direct response to overwhelming feedback from teachers and principals who say these designs simply don't work. The argument appears to be that while the initial goal was to foster collaboration, the reality, it's claimed, has been a struggle for noise, attention of students from the result of distractions, and managing student behaviour. So for many, particularly those with learning needs and sensory sensitivities, the constant buzz of shared space certainly does appear to be a barrier to learning rather than a pathway to it. Oh, while you're here, please subscribe. So the new policy will see a return to standard designs that it's argued will prioritise flexibility in a different way. So instead of the large barn, future designs will be built with flexible features like glass sliding doors and other technological solutions that should allow spaces to be open for group work when needed and closed for quiet focused learning, which of course has been the design of visionary architects for some time anyway. So this policy pivot isn't really just about disruption and acoustics, it's a reflection of a broader shift in educational philosophy that underlies educational policy. So lip service is still paid to the importance of collaboration, but also the focus on the need for students to be able to concentrate, on their 3 R's. It's presented as a pragmatic move that puts the needs of students and teachers first, learning from lessons of a decade-long experiment that the current government deems a failure. It's been argued sometimes in the simplest solutions, like having a door and a wall, are more effective. I would argue that designing flexible spaces does not necessarily mean either a large barn like construction or glass walls and doors. Spaces certainly need to reflect an underlying educational philosophy, and that philosophy needs to be forward-looking. So perhaps the notion of designing open learning spaces to reflect open learning workspaces that students will eventually go to work in was fundamentally flawed, largely because the evidence for the efficiency of those open working spaces was weak at best and is now largely debunked. If school design were to follow some of the current workplace activities, modes of work, preferences, worker preference, then one might wonder why students wouldn't be spending their time between home office, the school itself, and local coffee shops. So perhaps studying quietly 2 days a week at home when they need to concentrate, certainly in their senior years. It's just a thought. Thanks for sticking around to the end.